Do you hear that? The sounds of the choir only mean one thing. It's go time. You already know what it is. It's week 1 of the fantasy football season. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture, and welcome to week 1 of the race of our lives and our quest to maintain another fantasy football championship, to acquire another fantasy football championship, to add more rings on top of our ring fingers as if we didn't already have enough already. In this video, we're going to go through game by game, break down your start sits, matchups, injuries, everything that you need to know for week 1. So be sure to stick around for all of that. But if you're looking for a specific game or an individual player, timestamps for each game will be in the description down below, so feel free to utilize those as you wish. However, before we get started with anything, this is what I want to do. I want to talk about how I approach week 1, because every single year I see people panicking over week 1, when in reality, it is one of the easiest weeks to ever set your lineup, right? So what often ends up happening is we get too excited. We get too amped for fantasy football. I mean, God damn it, we've been waiting since June for this to happen, and we are finally here. We've been looking at breakouts, sleepers, busts, all these bits and data of information, but we all can't maximize it quite yet, and I think that's what people try and do. They try and get to this place to where, oh, I just spent all offseason hyping up Darnell Mooney, I have to start him week 1. No. So real quick, I'm just going to go through my 5 tips to avoid week 1 disaster. If you want to hear my full thoughts on them, I actually wrote a post on Facebook, facebook.com/ffvulture, if you want to check that out for a more in-depth explanation about everything. So my first rule for week 1 is start your studs. I say this over and over. I say this like throughout the entirety of the season, to be honest, but especially week 1, start your studs. Rule number 2, avoid unnecessary risk. Don't put yourself in vulnerable situations just because you think that you have a shot at coming out on the right side of things. Rule number 3 is don't get cute. Very similarly to what we were just talking about with like things like Darnell Mooney or just some deeper bench spot guys. No. You drafted them in the 13th round for a reason. Like, let's not overhype or over-exaggerate what potential outcomes could be when you know that you have better players in your starting lineup right now. Rule number 4 is stop overthinking, which is what we're going to be talking about here today, and it's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you, guide you through your week 1 decisions. And then rule number 5 is understand, wait, and see. Very similar, talking about guys like Darnell Mooney, Russell Gage, any other breakout player. You need to understand that in this, it's better to miss the breakout game than to wait for the breakout game. And here's what I mean by that. I'm willing to miss the big breakout game because I know that I'll have that player for the next 10 weeks. Whereas if I put them in my starting lineup now, there's a chance, a very high chance, let's call it what it is, that they could bust and then just put me behind the 8 ball to start the year. And that is something that I don't want to do. Fantasy football, especially early in the year, is all about momentum and starting off on the right foot so that way you can afford to lose later on down the road. So week 1 for me is super important because starting off the season 1-0 compared to 0-1, it's a huge psychological difference. So with all that being said, let's just dive right in, and it's time. It's time. I'm bringing something back, a little bit different though this year. Voila, welcome to the Fantasy Vulture weekly preview show. Like, let's just call it what it is. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. We got a new format, as you guys can see, and I'm just ready to rock and roll. So let's just dive right in. All right, game 1, we got the Jags taking on the Texans, and here's what I'm thinking. Right, we have no injuries on either side. James Robinson, auto start for Jacksonville, no brainer, right? But this game in particular, I'm not excited about. Just kind of going through what this could be. I expect it to be low scoring. I don't know who's going to play well, and this is going to tie into the theme for week 1, which is if I'm not 100% confident, I'm trying to pump the brakes. I'm trying to just put in my most confident lineup. Talent wins in week 1. That's my philosophy for all this. We are in a time where we don't have data to go off of for the year. So everybody's starting at 0, and if this is a game at 0, I'm starting my best players no matter what. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do in these matchups. So I'm sitting Trevor Lawrence. I want to wait and see it first. DJ Chark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. I don't know who is going to see the majority of the targets. I don't know what this passing offense is going to look like. Yes, the Texans are terrible. I don't really care. Like, this is just one where I'm trying to just be hands off. Just hands off. This is the game that really doesn't interest me for week 1 purposes. And then on the other side, you're looking at the Texans. I'm starting Brandon Cooks just because who else is going to catch the ball there? We'll see what happens with Nico Collins and Jordan Akins. But I'm sitting Tyrod. That backfield's an absolute nightmare between Ingram, David Johnson, and Phillip Lindsay. I have no idea what the workload split's going to be. And it's actually very funny that this game mirrors each other in the opposite way, where with the Jags, I don't know what wide receiver to start, and I don't want to start any of them. And then for the Texans, I don't know what running back I want to start, and I don't want to start any of them. So it's just a difference between passing game and rushing attack, but it's not going to be ideal here. Stay away if you can. Our next game here is oops, that's the wrong screen. Our next game here is going to be the Jets and the Panthers. We got some injuries here. Jamison Crowder is missing this game due to COVID. Starts for the Jets. I'm going to go with Corey Davis as an auto start, just looking at what his connection was like with Zach Wilson during the preseason. It's going to be strong. Davis was obviously brought in to be the #1 wide receiver on this team. I have no issues starting Corey Davis here. Sits Zach Wilson, another case of wait and see. Michael Carter and Tevin Coleman, another case of wait and see. I want to know what this backfield is going to look. I need to know what this backfield is going to shake out, because I've already voiced my concerns a few times about how I see Michael Carter transitioning into the NFL. So I'm kind of just being all hands off here. Elijah Moore is actually a sit for me, but if you need to start him, you can with the absence of Jamison Crowder. I do expect Elijah Moore to get some work, but again, just with a lot of these rookies, I'm just not really comfortable with just throwing them into my lineup week 1, because with rookies, you never quite know what you're going to get. Yes, there are going to be rookies that absolutely boom, and there's going to be a ton of rookies that bust, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of history with that. I'm really just trying to play week 1 as safe as possible. We can take the risk in week 6 through 10 if need be. On the other side for the Panthers, the Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson revenge games. There is no injuries to report on that side. Starts CMC, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I'm cool firing all those guys up in your lineup. They should be. This is going to be a great matchup for them. Sits Sam Darnold. Again, we're going to find out a lot about Sam Darnold this year, if he's actually good or not. Yes, I have confidence in DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, but that's more a talent thing, whereas opposed to that being a Sam Darnold thing, if that makes sense. Terrace Marshall, another rookie. I'm going to hold off just a bit. Give me one game. I'll wait and see what I actually have here for Terrace Marshall. Up next, let's go to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Washington football team. Injuries. Austin Eckler. We got the first, oh boy, what is going on here? Injury of the season. Eckler dealing with a hamstring injury. He should be a full go. Let me rephrase that. He should be good to go in this game. I don't know if he's going to be full go or not, but head coach Brandon Staley was saying that they expect him to be able to maintain a good workload in this game. Maybe pump the brakes on your expectations for Austin Eckler just a little bit, but if he's active, I'm going to start him in my lineup. And as you can see there, the starts, whoever's the starting running back for the Chargers, just start them. If Eckler gets downgraded to out and it's Justin Jackson, you can throw Justin Jackson in your lineup and it'll be okay. I'm also going to start Justin Herbert. Obviously, you drafted him to be great. Keenan Allen and Jared Cook, I'm also in on starting this week. Sits Mike Williams, because guess what? Again, week 1 is all about eliminating risk. And to be honest, I just don't feel like entertaining this thought in week 1 where I'm going to spin the fucking wheel and hope that I land on a 7 when I'm starting Mike Williams. No, thank you. On the other side with Washington, Curtis Samuel just recently was placed on the short-term IR with that groin strain. Not good, but that also means that Dyami Brown is a great pickup to add right now for your team, because he is an elite talent. He was one of my favorite wide receivers to come out of this draft. Go Heels. And he's somebody that is readily available right now in your waiver wire that could boom within the first 3 weeks, and then you can either keep him or flip him for something else later on down the road. Starts for this. I'm starting Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm just all in on him this year. Antonio Gibson, obviously going to be in your lineup. Terry McLaurin, we know the drill there, and Logan Thomas as well. This is actually going to be a really fun game, I think. In my opinion, it might be the most underrated game of this weekend. So I'm really excited for that, and I want to see what this Washington offense looks like with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Are they going to let him air it out? But regardless, he has the talent around him to where he will be productive for you, I think, no matter what, all season long. Up next, let's go to the Seahawks and the Colts. No injuries to report on either side. For the Seahawks, we're back to it, and you start your Seahawks. It's just what you do. You trust the offenses here. You trust the quarterback. Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Gerald Everett. These guys really shouldn't leave your lineup. The only one maybe that would leave your lineup is Gerald Everett, but regardless, week in and week out, you're going to play those core four in Seattle. Moving over to the other side now with the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz is good to go, but I'm not going to trust him against the Seattle Seahawks team. It's not a Seahawks defense thing. It is more so a Carson Wentz, I want to see it first. But that being said, Jonathan Taylor is up and active in your lineup, as well as Michael Pittman. I'm buying the breakout heavy on Pittman this year. I traded for him in Dynasty. I was drafting him everywhere in redraft leagues. T.Y. Hilton on the IR. It is Michael Pittman and then everybody else over there in Indianapolis. And I'm really excited to see his breakout campaign during year 2 of his NFL career. Up next, let's go to the Vikings and the Bengals. Minnesota, like there's no injuries here, and here's what we're going to go with. Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I'm going to sit Kirk Cousins, but to be honest, if you need to stream him, you probably could. This Bengals defense is reloaded, and that's why I have him sit, and that's why I have him as a sit. But we know what this Minnesota offense is capable of. But the thing about Kirk Cousins is that you just are so inconsistent, and you never know what you're going to get out of him in terms of fantasy purposes. He could finish with 30 points. He could finish with 10. And that is not a situation I want to put myself in for week 1. So I'm kind of off Kirk Cousins for this matchup versus Cincinnati. On the other side, going to the Bengals, no injuries to report here, but I'm going to start Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. I'm not going to start Jamar Chase. I just don't know what's going on. This is one of the strangest examples that I can recall of a top-tier rookie wide receiver just kind of exploding, but like the negative kind of exploding, not the good kind. Jamar Chase just had a rough preseason, had a rough training camp. Don't really know what's going on with this Bengals offense that was so highly touted throughout the offseason. So I'm going to start the guys that I know for sure I have confidence in. And then I'm actually going to sit Jamar Chase for this game. I just don't know what to expect from him. So it's another case of just waiting and seeing what actually unfolds. Joe Burrow, I just don't want to start him in that first game coming off of the torn ACL. Don't know how much they're going to throw the ball. Don't know what this game script is really going to look like. So with that being said, I'm just going to kind of limit my expectations, maybe for the Bengals this first week in terms of the pass game, but I still have confidence starting T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, who should just be suitable wide receivers 2 and 3 throughout the course of the NFL season. Up next, let's go to the Cardinals taking on the Titans, and this is probably my favorite game of the week. Just going through the schedule, this was one that I circled where it's like, oh, we might be in for an offensive juggernaut show right now. No injuries to report for either side. You're going to start Kyler. You're going to start Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, in your lineup. Chase Edmonds in your lineup as well. I'm actually going to sit James Conner, A.J. Green, and Rondale Moore. Again, there is potential here just for these teams to just explode for points. And if that's what you want to bank on when you're starting them, by all means, go ahead and do it. Just with James Conner, I don't know what his involvement is going to be. I want to see how this backfield plays out first. The only reason why I'm confident starting Chase Edmonds over James Conner is simply because of the pass-catching work that I expect to happen. And then with A.J. Green and Rondale Moore, I just want to see what the pecking order is in this Arizona Cardinals offense. We obviously know DeAndre Hopkins is going to be wide receiver 1, who's going to be 2, and who's going to be 3, and just trying to figure out what the actual target distribution is going to be. That's why I'm holding off on those 2 guys before I throw them into my lineups. Over to the Tennessee side of things, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones. We got a new core 4. We got the AFC core 4. Throw them in your lineup, no questions asked. Anthony Ferkshire, I've been going a lot back and forth on this because he was one of the tight ends that I really liked entering the offseason. And the more and more we got into draft season, I was just kind of like, I'm not sure how much this is actually going to help fantasy. Because a lot of Jonnu Smith's success was the fact that it was A.J. Brown, and then Jonnu Smith in the passing game, and now you throw in Julio Jones instead, and then Anthony Furcher drops down to this number 3 option, and he's really number 4 with the way that this offense revolves around Derrick Henry. So just trying to figure that piece out. I want to wait and see on the target distribution for Anthony Furcher before I'm confident putting him in my lineup, excuse me. So I'm really curious to figuring out what that actually looks like and what his role in this offense is going to be as the number 3 option in the pass game. Let's move over to the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Detroit Lions. No injuries to report for either side. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if his name's spelled right, actually. Fun fact. Oh, well, it's fine. So we got Jimmy G. I'm cool starting him. Raheem Mostert, Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle. Throw them in your lineup. It's going to be a great game for the San Francisco 49ers offense. I'm not going to start Trey Sermon. Again, I want to know what this running game actually shakes out to be. We know that San Francisco has historically used this revolving door of running backs. Both Raheem Mostert getting that extension this offseason for just one more year. Trey Sermon coming in as a rookie who did flash just a little bit. I want to just see how this all comes together. If you need to start Trey Sermon, you can, because this Detroit Lions defense is not good by really any means. So he could be in line for a big day. I'm just going to try and hold off just a little bit, get some more information, and then come back with an actual take and an understanding of Trey Sermon's role in this offense. Going over to Detroit, DeAndre Swift in my lineup, TJ Hawkinson in my lineup. I'm sitting everybody else. This offense is not going to be good. I am very, very worried, but with the talent of Swift and Hawk, just go for it, because they are going to be the two that are going to carry this Lions offense this season. Up next, Steelers taking on the Buffalo Bills. No injuries to report for either side. Your starts for Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, Chase Claypool, and then Deontay Johnson and Juju. I'm going to start all of them. Here's the concern, right? The concern is that you are spinning the divided 3 wheel, the 33% basically. And you got to hope that it lands on your guy for the week. That's my big concern. Deontay Johnson, I'm gonna go over this again. Deontay Johnson is the target guy. Chase Claypool is the big play wide receiver, and Juju Smith-Schuster is the slot / just short yards per attempt guy. So looking at that, they all have their own different roles, which is why I'm comfortable starting all 3. But you're really hoping that yours is the one that scores the touchdown on the week, or else you are looking at a potential bust from these guys, but they're just too talented to probably keep off of your starting lineup. I'm going to sit Big Ben. I'm going to be honest. With the way that this offense looked towards the end of last season, I just have a lot of concerns. There's so much talent on the roster, and that makes it feel like it's hard for them to lose. But understanding that we very well could just get maybe into a defensive grudge match between these two teams. Maybe it's a bit lower scoring. That's why I'm sitting Big Ben in this matchup. On the other side for the Bills, Diggs and Josh Allen, obviously going to be in your starting line no matter what. I'm sitting Zach Moss. I'm sitting Devin Singletary. We're going to do this for another year where we're not confident playing any of them for the time being. Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis, I don't love either, just because I want to be able to figure out what that new wide receiver room situation looks like. Are they going to give Gabriel Davis more work? Are they going to lower the workload of Cole Beasley? And again, against a great Steelers defense, I want to just give it some time. These are just two guys, though, that if I'm going to start one, it's going to be Cole Beasley over Gabriel Davis, just because I know that Beasley's done it before in this offense. Up next, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Atlanta Falcons. This is my favorite game, I think, of the week. I really think it is. I've just been so unbelievably bought in on Jalen Hurts all offseason long. I have him in literally every league, I think, this year, so I'm really excited about that. No injuries to report for either side. I'm going to start Hurts. Just trust it. Miles Sanders in my lineup. Devonta Smith in my lineup. Jalen Reagor, I have him as a sit. You probably could play Jalen Reagor, to be honest with you. This could be an absolute shootout of a game, and that's why I'm over the moon excited for it, on top of my love for Jalen Hurts this year. So I have Reagor down to the sit, and the reason why is just because I expect you to have better options immediately right now than Jalen Reagor. But if you are desperate for wide receivers, Rager would be in my lineup. I don't plan on playing Dallas Goedert because I don't want to do this stupid tight end game between Goedert and Ertz this year. Going over to the Falcons, for the first time this year, start everybody. Just do it. I'm tired of playing this game with the Falcons where you just, like, do I want to start Mike Davis? Do I want to start Russell Gage? Yeah, yes. Everybody should be in your lineup. Now, that being said, again, don't get cute. Don't get cute, specifically for Russell Gage, right? Like I was asked before, do I bench Odell for Russell Gage? Now, with Odell's injury news, which is questionable, we'll see what happens. But like in a question like that, start your studs. Start your talent. You're going to start Odell. But I don't want to just like poo-poo on Russell Gage because I've been the highest person on Gage this year. He's my wide receiver 24 on the season, and I can't wait for that to be correct. But you're going to start all your Falcons because this team just relies on offense, and I can't wait to watch this team literally trying to win games by scoring 45 and then allowing 44 points. Let's go to the Browns and the Chiefs. Speaking of Odell's questionable with that knee injury. This is going to be a crazy game, just two very different styles. The Browns played this more controlled game, and that really flows through the runs, and we know what the Chiefs' offense is with Patrick Mahomes, who hasn't lost in September, who I don't think has thrown an interception in September. Did I say September or December? Anyways, I think he's thrown maybe one interception in September, and I'm just looking at this, and I'm staring across my league of record facing Patrick Mahomes this week, and I am terrified. Admittedly, I am very, very scared. So for the Browns, you're going to start Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Jarvis, and Odell. You're going to sit Baker. I don't know what this game is going. I don't know what this game is going to look like for him. I would say the one upside that you have for Baker is that this game could very well become a shootout, and if that's the case, Baker should be in your lineup. But you do have much better options than Baker Mayfield this week if you are streaming the quarterback position. I'm also going to sit Austin Hooper. Again, just with the way that this offense is structured around the run game, Odell's back healthy and Jarvis is as well. Austin Hooper just becomes like the fifth option on this team, and that is something I am not interested in this season. On the other side, with the Kansas City Chiefs, no injuries to report here. You guys know the drill here. Come on. You guys know the drill. Mahomes, Clyde, Tyreek, Travis Kelce, all in your lineup. I'm not playing Mecole Hardman. I won't do it. I'm going to be right about this. I'm dying on this hill. Mecole Hardman will not be valuable in fantasy this season. You cannot convince me otherwise. He's going to have his games for sure. But throughout the entirety of the season, Mecole Hardman is the definition of a dart throw play. I don't care what offense he's on. Let's go to the Packers and the Saints now. Injuries here, just for the Saints, we got Traquan Smith, who landed on the short-term IR. He's going to miss 3 weeks with a hamstring injury, and then let's just stay on the Saints. Actually, starters here. I'm going to start Kamara. I'm going to start Adam Troutman. I'm going to sit Marquez Callaway. But to be honest, actually, like Callaway's going to be the wide receiver 1, and I just think you have better options. Like, that's what this comes down to for me. I just think you have better options. Jameis is tough for me this week. That's why I don't have him to start or a sit. Because for me, Jameis is just like right on that midline where it's start him if you have to, sit him if you want to. He's going to be okay. Like, he should easily be able to get you, 18 fantasy points, but that's not going to be enough to really make too much of a difference on either side of the coin here. As far as Green Bay goes, Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, and actually Adam Troutman. Can I edit this right now? Can I edit this on the spot? Let's do this. Yeah, we can. Did I say Adam Troutman? Who would I think? Oh, God. Oh, what a bad... there we go. Robert Tonyan. Woo, that's embarrassing. All right. So, Robert Tonyan, also my starting lineup as well. Just touchdown dependent, though. And then I'm sitting A.J. Dillon. Yes, he's going to get some work. I don't know how valuable that work is going to be, and that's going to be the biggest thing that I'm looking at this week to see what his workload is actually going to be. Going over to the Broncos and the Giants, injuries to report on either side. None for Denver. Evan Ingram is going to be questionable with this game due to that calf injury. Starts for Denver. Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Noah Fant. Sits for this game. Teddy Bridgewater, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. I don't know what this running back room is going to be. I legitimately think it's going to be 50-50. I think it's going to be what Tampa Bay's is, and Tampa Bay's offense is 10 times better than Denver's, and that's just a position that I don't want to put myself in. So with that being said, I want to wait and see how this shakes out. And yes, I know I'm saying wait and see over and over, but again, this is just my approach for week 1. I'm starting the guys who I drafted in the first 8 rounds to be my starting players, right? And unless look, you probably did draft Javonte Williams in round 5 or 6, but guess what? That value there was too high to start, draft season, and it finished too high as well. I don't know how active of a role Javonte Williams is going to have in this matchup. I want to figure it out, wait and see, and then go from there. Teddy Bridgewater is just a very up and down quarterback. You never really know what you're going to get out of him, and because of that, I'm sitting him this week in this matchup versus the Giants. For the Giants, though, Saquon in my lineup, Kenny Golladay in my lineup. He should be good to go coming off that hamstring injury. And then I'm sitting Daniel Jones, Darius Slayton, and Sterling Shepard. No, thank you. Just with the money that they paid Kenny Golladay this offseason, with the way this offense is currently structured, it's not sexy by any means. I think there's only room for a few guys to be successful, and those guys are going to be Saquon Barkley and Kenny Golladay, while you're really just flipping a coin between Slayton and Shepard throughout the rest of the season. Next, Miami taking on New England in a battle of Alabama quarterbacks, which I'm sure you've heard about all week long. Injuries, Will Fuller suspended for this first game. Nelson Aguilar questionable with an ankle injury as well for the Patriots. Starts for the Dolphins. Guys, this is just a game where I'm just pretty much hands off. I'm going to be honest. This is the game where I'm just like, I have no real interest in trying to figure this out. I would say this game and our first game that we looked at, Jaguars and Texans, I'm just like, oh, this does not seem like a good idea. For Miami, Gaskin I'm in on, Gesicki I'm in on. I'm sitting Tua. I just don't believe it yet. I need to see that first. Devontae Parker and Jalen Waddle. You can probably start Parker if I'm being honest. Like, Parker would be the one that I'm starting. With Waddle, I really want to see what his role is going to be in this offense. And again, all that can change next week when Will Fuller comes back. So if you're going to take advantage of 1 week to start these Dolphins wide receivers, this is probably the week because there's 2 of them and not 3. But I just don't know what to expect from this offense this season. Going over to the Patriots, I'm sitting Mac Jones, I'm sitting Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, Jones. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I need to see it first. I need to know what this offense actually looks like. Who gets the targets? Who gets the majority of work at tight end? Because that's just going to be an absolute nightmare for you to deal with this season. And I'm starting Damien Harris. Why? Because he's the one thing I'm fucking sure of for the Patriots offense this year. They trade Sony Michel. Yes, they have Ramondre Stevenson back there as well. I don't really care. Damien Harris is going to be the guy, I think, for them this season. And I'm cool starting him against this Miami Dolphins defense. Let's go over to the Sunday night game now. For the Chicago Bears, injuries. We got Darnell Mooney, who's battling a back injury. I expect him to play. He was limited in practice all week, but I just think that it's going to be game 1. He'll be amped and ready to go. I'm going to start David Montgomery and Allen Robinson as my go-to for the Chicago Bears. I'm sitting Andy Dalton. This is what I was talking about. I'm not playing Darnell Mooney. And I've been as high on Mooney as anybody. I just don't want to do it. This just seems to me like if you start him against this Rams defense, which admittedly lost a whole lot of pieces this offseason, but I still think they'll be all right. Like, I don't want to deal with this. This just feels like a really bad idea. I'm going to be honest with you, starting Darnell Mooney here. That being said, like, Allen Robinson should be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, so maybe Mooney has like some upside there, but battling the back injury, a Sunday night game against the Rams defense, no thanks. I'm going to try and hold off here for just 1 week on Darnell Mooney. Cole Kmet, no thanks. I'll believe it when I see it. For the Rams, we have a situation here, which is start everybody unless your name is Sony Michel. Stafford's in your lineup, Henderson's in your lineup, the wide receivers are in your lineup as well as Tyler Higbee, and then with Sony Michel, no, like you're not good. I'm sorry, you're not a good running back. Darrell Henderson, to be fair, I don't know if Henderson's a great running back either, but Henderson knows this offense. He's been here for a bit, and I feel like that Henderson has a much better upside in this matchup for Chicago than Sony Michel does. And then let's wrap it up with our Monday night game, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, and just injuries for Baltimore. None, kind of. Like, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, Marcus Peters. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this Baltimore offense anymore. I'm sitting Tyson Williams. I don't care. I'll believe, like, I'm not, I won't do it. I'm sitting Tyson Williams. I'm going to sit Latavius Murray. I'm sitting Le'Veon Bell. I'm sitting Devonta Freeman. I just don't want to play a Ravens running back now. I have no interest in doing it, at least for the time being. Lamar's going to be in your lineup. Mark Andrews is going to be in your lineup. Marquise Brown, I have him and Sammy Watkins both out of your lineup. But with the way that this offense is currently going to shake out, I mean, shit. Marquise Brown or Watkins, like, it's not a bad idea. Like, if you really want to break that down, it really isn't, because if you don't trust the running backs, you then have to trust the pass game. And if they go pass heavy with the way that the Dallas Cowboys did in their game versus Tampa, I think you have room for these guys to have really big games. So that's just an interesting note and a different perspective on the Baltimore Ravens in Week 1. And then going over to the Raiders now, no injuries to report. Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller are going to be in my lineup. I'm going to sit Derek Carr. I'm going to sit Kenyon Drake. I'm sitting the wide receivers. This is just not a good matchup for them in Week 1. And especially with all the question marks for the wide receivers. Is it going to be Henry Ruggs? Is it going to be Bryan Edwards? How involved is Kenyon Drake in the run game as well? I want to let this shake out. I need to let this marinate. Understand what this Raiders offense is going to look like. Excuse me. I'm 31 minutes in. Give me a second here. I need to understand what this offense is going to look like and then make my moves accordingly. But Jacobs and Waller should be in your lineup, no questions asked. And I actually think that that's going to do it. Come to think of it, I think that's going to do it for Week 1. We breezed through that in all of, like, what, 30 minutes? Damn, 32 minutes. Let's go. I love PowerPoints. This is probably going to be the way that we do these videos throughout the year. It's my way to just, doing it this way, I understand the matchups. And again, we don't have any data to go off of for this week. So that's why you didn't see any like stats or hard-hitting analysis within the PowerPoint presentation. But looking at this, again, I just want to remind you, don't take unnecessary risks. Everybody's starting at 0. Put your best talent out there and don't overthink it, because that's where you're going to get yourself tripped up. I am literally playing my most basic lineups this week because it's just not worth it. The potential for you to fail in Week 1 and start off 0-1, where if you kept it simple you would be 1-0, it's just too high. It's just too high, so don't get cute. You know what you are doing. You drafted this team. You watched the content for a reason. You are smart enough to put your best lineup out there. So just do it. Trust it. Don't overthink things. And I will see you on Sunday or Monday. I don't know when my next video is going to come out. I think what we're going to do, actually, spoiler, we might do a Sunday night live stream after the game to just do some live reaction. So be on the lookout for that. Again, hit that subscribe button down below so you never miss a video from me. Hit the like button to show your support if you enjoyed this video. And comment down below your favorite Week 1 matchup or your biggest roster decision. Who are you looking at starting? Who are you looking at sitting? If you need any advice throughout the weekend, be sure to follow me on Twitter at FFVulture. And you shoot me a tweet, I'll be sure to get back to you there. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever, and I will see you in the next video.